Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm back on my ones to record a special Caribbean Cricket Podcast Cuss Out session. My name is Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. And as the banner says down below, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Carib Cricket. If you're feeling so inclined, you can support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast and become a patron. For as little as $2, £2, whatever your international currency is per month, to keep us going and to keep us doing what we are doing. But like I say, I'm back. Santoki is doing some stuff, and I just thought on this Sunday, as I record this, I just record a little 20-minute special, a 20-minute discussion one, and you can all comment below. So once I've posted this, drop your comments. You always do when we do the lives, but drop your comments below. Always remember to press that like button as well. See, I'm getting better at reminding people to do that. Subscribe, share it with anybody who you know loves West Indies cricket, who you feel might need to listen to this one. But this episode today, this cuss out today, what am I calling it? I'm calling it, What Do We Do with Roston Chase? Listen, it's the elephant in the room, and someone needs to deep dive on this one. Shout out Ayana Holder, who was on our last live after the end of the Sri Lanka series. If you haven't watched that one yet, it's on our YouTube channel. Go watch that that live show we did dissecting the West Indies or Sri Lanka West Indies series, and we spoke a bit about Roston in that particular series, but in that particular show. But I felt like I wanted to do a specific cuss out session on it because we really need to talk about this. And as ever, for those of you who remember me doing these cuss outs during the summer, I'm going to try and present this with a balanced argument. I'm going to bring the relevant stats that we need to know. I'm not going to give an answer. Well, I'll try not to. I'm just going to present the information and then let all of you who are listening comment below and tell me what you think about it. But let's go. Let's dive into this. Roston Chase is 30 years old, or is about to become 30. He's about 100 days away, or maybe 80 days away. So he's going to be 30 soon. He's been representing the West Indies since approximately 2015, 2016. So what's that? That's like a 5 to 6 year career representing the West Indies. I don't know if you would call 30 your prime, but he should be in his prime, I guess, right about now. After 6 years of international cricket, he should be maximizing his ability. Unfortunately, as I record this now, we have to wonder and we have to ask some serious questions. We're not even asking if Roston's maximizing his ability. He's not. That's clear. That's obvious. What we need to work out is, has he peaked already? As I speak to you right now, Roston Chase is, and we're going to bring in ODIs and T20s, but primarily this cuss out is about the test arena. As I speak to you right now, Roston Chase's test average is 26.79 with the bat, and it is, where's my stats? It is 43, with the ball. Those are not encouraging all-round stats. You do not want, no test all-rounder, if you're going to call Roston Chase an all-rounder, should have those stats. 26.79 with the bat. Let's round it up to 27 and help him. 27 with the bat, 43 with the ball. If I took out the name Roston Chase and you heard those stats, where would that person bat in your side? 27 with the bat, 43 with the ball. Where would that person bat in a side that you had? An international side that you had? Yes, I know that's a bit of a weird question without considering the rest of the team, but where would you put someone like that in a team? Does someone like that even get in an international side? Yes, I know the West Indies are weak when it comes to batting, but does someone like that even get in a side? 27 with the bat, 43 with the ball. They're not even close together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and piece this together, because to understand where this comes from, let's go back to the last time Roston was good. And when I say good, I mean making a meaningful impact with the bat, because Roston is a batsman. Unless I'm mistaken, and unless somebody wants to correct me, Roston's primary suit is he is a batsman. Even if you want to loosely call him an all-rounder, he would never, and no fan should ever say that his primary suit is with the ball. I'm not saying he's a part-timer, although you could argue that a test average of 43 with the ball suggests he is a part-timer. I'm not actually going to say he's a part-timer. He's somewhere between part-timer and a full-time strike bowler, right? Somewhere in that gap. But Roston made his debut into the West Indies team primarily as a batsman. As late as 2018-2019, after our 2-1 series win against England, Roston's average with the bat was 33, and his average with the ball was roughly around 45, 44, 43, which is a bit better. He was batting at the time at actually may well have been at number 4, but let's say number 4, number 5, and he was averaging 33 with the bat. In the West Indies team then, that was acceptable. West Indies teams of yesteryear, that was deemed barely acceptable. Look at someone like a Wavell Hines, dropped when he was averaging 33. Look at someone like a Brendan Nash, dropped when he was averaging 33. Jermaine Blackwood, when he was dropped the first time, was averaging 31. But Roston Chase at the time, he'd made a century in Antigua. England won that particular test match, but we won the series 2-1. That was Roston's last century back at the start of 2019, so over coming up to 3 years ago, and he was averaging 33 in test cricket. I accept that. Since that test series, Roston Chase has played in 26 test match innings. In those 26 test match innings, Roston has passed 50 twice. He's passed 30 5 times. He's scored less than 20 19 times. Did you hear what I just said? Roston has scored less than 20 19 times in his last 26 innings. Do you know how mad that is? Let me say that one more time for those who can't hear down the back. Roston has scored less than 20 runs 19 times out of his last 26 test match innings. Yet, and for those who follow the Caribbean Cricket Podcast Twitter handle, follow that down below. I've been saying this for time. After the England series away, I started going on Twitter saying Roston should probably hold a drop. His form's not good enough. And the amount of heat I caught for merely suggesting that, because Roston won Player of the Series, the West Indies Player of the Series in that England tour in 2020 during the height of the COVID pandemic, right? He won, I don't know how, but he won the West Indies Player of the Series, right? And after that series, I said, how's Roston even still in our team? He should be dropped. And I caught some heat, primarily from Barbadians, but whatever. He then went to New Zealand and got made vice captain. I don't know how. I said after New Zealand, Roston should be dropped. That was at the same time that I was saying Jason should probably not be captain anymore. Do you know the amount of heat I caught? One for the Jason article for saying that Jason probably shouldn't be captain anymore, and then double heat for again saying Roston probably should be dropped. You know, we can't be justifying subpar performances like this. Roston then pulled out of Bangladesh and was dropped because he never got recalled for the Sri Lanka series because of the performances of Carl Mayers and Nkrumah Bonner, etc. So he kinda held a drop for the Sri Lanka series due to what happened in Bangladesh. But 2-2s, come South Africa, come Pakistan, and come Sri Lanka again this year, he's back. So let me just say this now, and this is no witch hunt. Do you know what? Roston could end up watching this. And Roston, if you do watch this, if someone shares this with you, this isn't any witch hunt. This is just critical. No, sorry, it's critical, but it's balanced critique of what's going on. And if Roston ends up watching this and someone says it to him and says, look what this guy, who does this guy think he is saying what he's saying? Roston, do better though, innit? Because you should want to be doing better. What I'm saying here shouldn't be, it's no personal attack. It's just looking at the raw numbers and saying, you know what, it's not working out for Roston right now. Something needs to change. But let me present the numbers. Since that England series, so let's go with India at home. Roston averaged 18 in that 2-match series. Afghanistan away, 1-match series. Roston averaged 2. England away, 3-match series. Roston averaged 26. New Zealand away, 2-match series. Roston averaged 4. South Africa at home, 2-match series. Roston averaged 25. Pakistan at home, 2-match series. Roston averaged 13. Sri Lanka away, 2-match series. Roston averaged 3. Bro, did you not hear what I just said? 18, 2, 26, 4, 25, 13, 3. What do you not want me to actually say, though? How those of you who are defending this, and this goes from anybody who comes in, like, for example, Bayesian bias, anyone who thinks there's a right way to be a batsman in cricket, West Indies selectors, anyone who looks at those numbers and can still come with an argument which says, yeah, that's strong numbers. Tell me how and tell me why. I beg someone explain it to me, because I don't understand. How can a man bat in the top 5 and have those numbers? Let me say it again one more time for those who are hard of hearing down the sides and out the back. 18, 2, 26, 4, 25, 13, 3. 19 out of his 26 innings, out of his last 26 innings, Roston's got I've said that wrong. 19 times out of his last 26 innings, Roston has made less than 20 runs. That's what you expect from, like, Shannon Gabriel. Come on, man. What is this, though? 250s in his last 26 innings, and Roston's batting number 5. This can't run anymore, and it's not personal. Roston himself should hear what I'm saying with those numbers and say, that's poor still. It's poor. Wisden, famous English magazine, dropped some stats the other day, and they said of all top 5, anybody who plays in the top 5 in the world who's played more than 20 innings over the last 3 years, Shea Hope is number 1 and Roston Chase is number 2 for the worst production in terms of averages, having played more than 20 innings. Hope is number 1. Roston is number 2. I think Roston's numbers, and this was before Roston then got a duck in the second innings in the second test. So Roston's numbers was like he's averaging 18 over the last 3 years. 18, for a number 5 batsman or a number 4 batsman. If I speak. So, and within that, so then I started digging deep. I was like, what's going wrong for Roston though? Because in New Zealand, I saw him falling over a lot. And I deeped it, and of his last 26 innings, 5 of them he's been bowled. He's been dismissed. Five times he's been dismissed bowled, and 8 times he's been dismissed LBWs, and the rest are all caughts in various different ways. Now, this might be a bit of a stretch of a take. So that's 13 times he's either been bowled or dismissed LBW. I'm going to stretch maybe, and I probably need to deep dive a bit more, and I'll give that one over to the analysts, the ones who really study this stuff in cricket. But that suggests to me somebody who doesn't know where his leg stump is, his off stump is, whatever it might be. Somebody who's coming too far across his wicket. The amount of times, I mean, it's only 5 times. I thought it was more that he'd been bowled, but there's been a lot of dismissals I've seen from Roston where the gap between his bat and pad is too huge. Like you say, New Zealand, I saw him falling over quite a lot. And when I see that from a batsman, that suggests to me someone who don't know where his off stump is, never mind his leg stump. Somebody who mentally might not actually be in the zone where he needs to be in Test cricket. Even if I tried to cut Roston a bit of a bly and say, well, you know what, he went to the T20 World Cup, then immediately flew to Sri Lanka, so it's asking a lot to switch between the formats. He was doing poor before that anyway. Arguably, what some people should be saying is, when he pulled out of Bangladesh after that New Zealand tour, when he got made vice-captain, still don't know how, averaged 4, then he chose not to go to Bangladesh. Bonner and Mayers came in, did well. Roston, therefore, didn't get picked for Sri Lanka at home. The question mark I've got is, Just because Roston then did well in the best versus best games, he shouldn't have got back in the team so easily. But that's a bigger and a wider systemic issue I've got with the selectors. I know we've had no first class cricket, but I'm looking at those best versus best games. I'm thinking, yes, he made runs in them. So yes, arguably, what else could the selectors go on other than best versus best? He made runs, so that's why he gets back into the squad for South Africa at home and then Pakistan at home. But was that a long enough period to leave him out of the squad to reflect on his game? I don't think it was. If you drop a man because you know he's not producing, granted he pulled out of Bangladesh, etc., but you know in general he's not producing, how do you bring him back so quickly? And then when he fails again, how does he then get 3 series in a row again? The reality is this for me, Roston and I could put Shea Hope in this argument as well. How long is the rope that they get? How long? Does it ever end? And it's not healthy. It's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for West Indies cricket. And yes, in West Indies cricket, the issues that need to be solved are much bigger than whether Roston Chase should hold a drop. But we can only deal with what we've got in front of us. How do you justify a player getting such a long run and not just dropping them? So I'm going to call it as I see it right now. Roston Chase can't play against England in the Test series. I'll say it again. And if it reaches the selectors' ears, I hope they're listening. Roston Chase cannot play against England in the Test series in March because his form does not dictate he can. And if he is going to play, because I'm fairly certain he's going to get in the squad anyway, if he is going to play, he cannot play in the top 6 for West Indies because his batting does not allow him to do so. Let me read those numbers again in case you're still hard of hearing. Since he made that century against England in Antigua in 2019, he has averaged 18 versus India, 2 versus Afghanistan, 26 versus England, 4 versus New Zealand, 25 versus South Africa, 13 versus Pakistan, and 3 versus Sri Lanka. No top 6 batsman should be allowed to get away with that. None. And if I was Shamar Brooks, if I was Kavem Hodge, who has been playing in the best versus best games, I'd say, but what about me? Hodge went to Bangladesh. What about me? I've made a few runs here and there in best versus best. Take a chance on someone new in the same way how you pick Solizano out of the blue. Take a chance on someone new. Stop recycling the same players who are failing. So if I was Kavem Hodge, I'd say the last first class season we had, I played 8 matches and I averaged 38. I got 100 and I got 450s. Bring me in. Bring me in because I can average 3 versus Sri Lanka too. I can average 13 versus Pakistan too. I can average 25 versus South Africa too. I can average 4 versus New Zealand too. Bring me in. If I was Shamar Brooks, where's my numbers for Shamar Brooks? The same series that Roston averaged 18 versus India, Shamar Brooks averaged 16. The series that Roston Chase averaged 2 versus Afghanistan, Shamar Brooks averaged 111. The series where Roston Chase averaged 26 versus England, Shamar Brooks averaged 33. The series where Roston Chase averaged 4 versus New Zealand, Shamar Brooks averaged 13. So if I was Shamar Brooks, and yes, he pulled out of Bangladesh too, I'd be looking at how Roston got back in versus South Africa, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka and say, but what about me? What about me? I was doing better than Roston before I pulled out of Bangladesh. So how has Roston got back in the side and I can't get back in the side? How does Roston get 3 series to make no runs and I can't get back in the side? If I was Darren Bravo, and loads of you hate it when I bring up Darren Bravo, but if I was Darren Bravo with my test average still of 36, right? If I was Darren Bravo, I'd look at, you bought me in versus India before I was ready. I got concussion. I didn't go to Afghanistan. I didn't go to England. You brought me back versus New Zealand. I made a century and a 90-odd in the warm-up game. Then I flopped in the New Zealand Test series the same way how Roston Chase flopped. And I haven't played a Test match since. If I was Darren Bravo, I'd say, but wait, what's Roston done that means you can't bring me back in? Now, I don't know if Darren Bravo wants to play Test cricket anymore. But if I was Darren Bravo, I'd say, well, hold on. Man has got pedigree at this level. Man has made big 200 in New Zealand away. Man has made Test centuries more than Roston. How comes you're not bringing me back in? How comes Roston gets this long rope to fail? It don't make no sense. If I was Leon Johnson, captain of Guyana, I'd look at the last first class season. I'd say I bat in the middle order. I played 8 first class matches. I averaged 36. I scored 100. I got 250s. I was 10th on the run score chart in the last not even full, but the last first class season we had in the Caribbean. How comes I didn't play in any of the best versus best games? That's what I'd say if I was Leon Johnson. How comes man and man didn't get a call up to any of the best versus best games? How comes you ain't taking a punt on me? You brought in Solazano out of the blue. How comes you ain't bringing me out from the blue to play a best versus best game? I played Test cricket in the past as well, and you didn't even play me in the position I'm supposed to play. Bring me back in. That's what I'd say if I was Leon Johnson. It is not setting a good precedent to allow Roston to flop upon flop at number 5, and no one else can't come in. Roston gets a drop, he comes straight back in. Now, of course, lots of you who are listening to this going, but bring up the bowling, and I'm going to. But before I start to bring up the bowling numbers, I ask you again, like I asked at the beginning, but why is Roston in the side? Is he in the side to bat first and foremost? If he is, it's not good enough. If you are telling me that Roston is in the side to bowl, why is he batting at number 5? So anyone who's listening to this trying to come with your defense, if you are telling me what about his numbers with the ball, why is he batting in the top order? Why are you not batting him at number 8 then? Or number 9 and saying, right, you're now our number 1 off spinner. But before I get into that, remember that Roston is averaging 43 with the ball. So if any of you are going to say to me Roston's our number 1 spinner, remember he's averaging 43 with the ball. And I need you, boy, don't let me get angry up in here, you know. But let me go with the numbers because I have to keep it balanced. So Roston with the ball. That same India series where he averaged 18 with the bat, Roston got 6 wickets at 43. The series where he averaged 2 versus Afghanistan, he got 3 wickets at 7. The series where he averaged 26 with the bat versus England, he got 10 wickets at 34. The series where he averaged 4 versus New Zealand, he got 2 wickets at 82. Then he didn't go to Bangladesh and he was dropped for Sri Lanka at home. South Africa at home and Pakistan at home, he took no wickets. And now with Sri Lanka, he's just taken 8 wickets at 32. To me, personally, those are not the numbers of a front line spinner. They're all right. Don't get me wrong. They're all right. They're not the numbers I expect from a strike spinner or a spinner who's a strike bowler. But they're all right. What I need to ask the people listening to this is, are those numbers good enough to play Roston Chase as the out and out spinner, the number 1 spinner in the Caribbean in the West Indies side? Are those numbers strong enough to keep Vasami Permal out the side? Are those numbers strong enough to keep Rakeem Cornwall out the side? Are those numbers strong enough to keep Jamel Warrican out the side? Now, some of you may say yes, because you'll say, but Roston can add more with the bat lower down. Quite possibly if you play him at number 8, number 9. But right now, he's offering nothing with the bat. He's not offering anything substantial enough with the bat that means that he definitively is better than Rakeem Cornwall, or he is definitively better than Vasami Permal, or he is definitively better than Jamel Warrican. You lot are playing, you see, you lot who are like, yeah, but what you can offer with the ball and then bat lower down. You're doing the horses for courses thing. You see me, I don't play that. When I pick a team, the person has to excel in their primary role. So are you lot flipping this now and trying to tell me that Roston's primary role is with the ball? Is that what you lot are saying to me? Because if that's what you're saying to me, you need to tell me if those numbers are good enough for those if those numbers are good enough for him to be the primary spinner in the Caribbean, whether playing at home or playing away. But I wanted to be fair because I was like, well, he's an off spinner. Let's compare to Rakeem Cornwall. So versus India, Roston took 6 wickets at 43. Rakeem Cornwall took 3 at 58. Roston wins that one. But here's a common theme you're going to see. Rakeem Cornwall only played in one of the tests. Versus Afghanistan, Roston took 3 wickets at 7. Rakeem Cornwall took 10 at 12. I say Rakeem wins that one because, well, he took 10 wickets. Versus England away, Roston took 10 at 34. Rakeem took none. But Rakeem only played one test. Roston played all 3. Bangladesh, Rakeem was then given the primary spinner role and took 14 wickets. Essentially, was key in us winning that series 2-0. He took 14 wickets at 27. Sri Lanka at home, flat decks. Anyone who remembers that series? Flat decks. Rakeem took 4 at 60. Poor. Roston didn't play in that series, by the way. But Rakeem took 4 at 60, but he averaged 67 with the bat. That's not to excuse Rakeem's 4 at 60, but it's notable that he averaged 6-7 with the bat, 250s. In fact, Rakeem has got 250s in his sole 15 innings. Roston has only got 250s in his last 26 innings as a number 5 batsman, by the way. Against South Africa, Roston took no wickets. Rakeem took 1 for 61, an average of 61, but Rakeem only played the 1 test. Roston played both. Against Pakistan, Roston took no wickets. Rakeem didn't even play in the series. Against Sri Lanka, Roston took 8 wickets at 32. Rakeem took 2 at 76, but he only played in the 1 test. Do you notice a theme here? And actually, I should point out, Roston averaged 3 with the bat versus Sri Lanka in his 2 tests. Rakeem averaged 26 in his 1 test. Again, the batting is not to absolve Rakeem underperforming with the ball. But my issue with comparing Roston to Rakeem is Rakeem doesn't even get the whole series. We are judging Rakeem Cornwall's returns when he's playing 1 series there, dropped. Not playing the next series, 1 series, 1 match here, dropped. Doesn't play the whole series, then doesn't play the Pakistan series, then plays 1 test versus Sri Lanka, dropped. What are we doing with Rakeem Cornwall? We're clearly not telling him he's our primary spinner. We're clearly not. Everyone knows that a spinner has to have you've got to get a rhythm. If Rakeem Cornwall knows when he goes into a series, I might play a 1 test match and then I'm out. I'm not even going to get the whole series. Since Rakeem Cornwall has made his debut, he's only played 2 full series. Bangladesh away, 14 wickets at 27. Sri Lanka at home, 4 wickets at 60 on some flat road tracks. Every other test series he's played maximum 1 match and not had a chance to get into any kind of rhythm. But then we can look at the raw numbers. So far in his career, Rakeem Cornwall has taken 34 wickets at 38. That's not good enough. I'm not going to try and pretend it's good enough. 34 wickets at 38. Roston has taken 79 wickets at 43. Obviously, Roston has played something like 43 test matches. Rakeem has only played like 9. But there are plenty of you who are trying to say to me that Roston Chase is a better bowler than Rakeem Cornwall. That's nonsense. That's actually nonsense. I don't think you can compare the international numbers because Rakeem hasn't been managed well. That's my personal opinion. Some of you will say that's nonsense. Machel, St. Patrick here, that's nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. But you see, if I enlist somebody with my primary spinner role, he's got to play all the test matches. Rakeem Cornwall is good enough with the bat to be given the role that you lot want Roston Chase to have. You lot basically seem to want Roston Chase to play at number 8 or number 9 because I think most of you acknowledge he can't play in the top 6 with his batting record. So you lot seem to now want to fit Roston Chase into the side by batting him at number 8 or number 9 and say, right, now you're the premier spinner. But such is his poor returns with the bat that Rakeem Cornwall's technically batting better than him. If we look at it. Now, you could say Roston is out bowling Rakeem, but Roston's getting the entire test series. Rakeem isn't getting the entire test series. So Roston took 8 wickets at 32, right? Roston bowled in 4 innings. Rakeem Cornwall bowled in 2. Are we saying that because Roston took 8 and Rakeem only took 2, Roston did better than him? Well, yes, the raw numbers say so. But if a man doesn't play in the next test match, doesn't get the opportunity to take more than 2 wickets, I don't see the comparison there. West Indies selectors have to make a decision here. They have to make a clear decision about what we're doing with Roston Chase. If you still consider him a batsman and somebody who can play in the top 6, he has to get dropped. I'm not asking any questions. I'm telling you facts. He has to get dropped. If you still consider him a batsman, a top order batsman, it's time for him to hold a drop. And not a 1 series drop, not a 2 series drop, a drop. I mean a 1-year drop. I might even mean I might even mean an 18 months drop. Tell Roston Chase to go play an entire season of first-class cricket. It don't even have to be in the Caribbean, just somewhere. Tell him to go play some first-class red ball cricket somewhere and get his form back. Work out any kind of chinks in the armor. Because there is no way Roston Chase should be getting into the West Indies international side because of what he can do with the ball before what he can do with the bat. Because even if we take Rakeem Cornwall out of it, for Sammy Purmol just took, 8 wickets for at 18 in Sri Lanka. Forget Rakeem Cornwall for a second. Technically, Purmol has put himself at the top of the queue. Play for Sammy Purmol before you play Roston Chase because he's a strike bowler. Play Jamel Warrican before you play Roston Chase because he's a strike bowler. Do something other than try to justify to me that because somebody has once batted well in the past, that justifies him now being shunted down somewhere else to fit him into the team. Make him hold a drop, make him reflect on his game, and make him score a bag of runs to justify coming back into the team. Because you see this horses for courses, justification, ignoring the numbers, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Stop rewarding mediocrity. Stop rewarding failure. That's not a personal attack on Roston. It's not good enough. And Roston himself should be looking at the numbers and looking at my breakdown and saying, well, you know what, Rob, with the bat, it's not good enough. He should know that. I'm not saying nothing harsh. He himself should know that. It's time to hold a drop. Ladies and gents, anyone who's been listening to that, if you think I've got it wrong, by all means, comment below. When I drop this on the YouTube, comment below. Obviously, press the like button. Press the dislike button if you think I've been chatting a bag of fart. Press the like, press the dislike. But subscribe, share it with your peoples. What do we do with Roston Chase now? Me personally, I'm saying man has to hold a drop. Go reflect on his game, play some first-class cricket, go somewhere, do something. Because remember, he will still be playing ODI cricket because he's a part of the ODI team now. A couple of people, and actually I was about to finish, but a couple of people have been messaging me saying, oh, it's because Roston's now, his white ball cricket has made his numbers decline. No, because even if you look at Roston's ODI numbers, they're not very good. Roston had one good series away against Afghanistan in the 3 ODIs. And other than that, his numbers are, average? In fact, subpar. They're subpar in ODI cricket with the bat and with the ball. They're not anything to shout about. I had them written down somewhere. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah. The numbers are nothing to write about in ODI cricket. He's part of the squad. I've got no issue with that. But his numbers with the bat and with the ball are nothing to write home about in ODI cricket. So I don't buy the idea that white ball cricket is destroying his test game. He's been destroying his test game since India at home in 2019. He himself. That's nothing to do with him playing loads and copious amounts of white ball cricket. Yes, his T20 cricket has kicked on. 2020 strong CPL, 2021 strong CPL. But his drop in form in test cricket was before all that. The drop was noticeable before all that. I told you already with the numbers. Poor in India. Poor versus India, poor versus Afghanistan, subpar versus England, awful versus New Zealand, subpar versus South Africa, awful versus Pakistan, shocking versus Sri Lanka. So don't talk to me about, it's what the white ball cricket has done to his game. No, it's deeper than that. Bowled 5 times, 8 times LBW, less than 20, 19 times in his last 26 innings. It's deeper than that. What would you do about Roston Chase, people? Hit me up in the comments. I'll always reply back. You don't have to agree with me. You might fully disagree with me. Whatever it might be. You might fully agree. Whatever. Comment, share with your peoples. What do we do about Roston Chase? I've been Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. That's been a cuss out session. Hope you enjoy your week or the rest of your weekend when you watch this. Peace.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rules seem coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.